Hey guys, Hawk here. We're going to be trying to do this in one take, so I have the N Series Infinite here. This is actually not the first one that I have. I've actually already modified this one, and the half dart conversion files are in the description if you want to check that out. So I'm just going to be jumping right into this, and we're going to be doing a breakdown. So we got the magazine, got the blaster. Oh my goodness. And we got some darts. And that's pretty much it. This is actually how that blaster came. The first one I got was in a box. The second one was just a label slapped on it. So we have the blaster itself, magazine. All of the chains are individually linked together. We'll take a look at this further. I have not taken this apart yet, so I don't know how smoothly that's going to go. But we'll get there when we get there. So I'm going to try to do as much of a comprehensive breakdown as I can. I will have my own opinions in here. It took about 2 hours to get through this blaster the first time. I really probably should have been recording, but it is what it is. These are the N1 darts. There's plenty of information out on these things, the dimensions, the weight, I'm sure. So I'm not going to bother boring you guys with that. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I think the more interesting thing is the magazine, but I'll jump into the blaster first. So these screws are mostly the same. I would like to retrieve them if I could possibly. There we go. So all of these screws in the ABS are the same except for 3 of them, which is this one, and this one. Normally I would be figuring this out along and just explaining as I'm figuring it out, but I have already, like I said, I've already actually taken this apart. So those 3 screws are slightly longer. The rest of these are all the same size. They are a pitch of 1 millimeter, and the reason why that's important is because the ones in the orange parts, which is a polypropylene, is a 1.5 pitch. That means between the teeth. So and the reason for that is only because the material that it's made out of, the polypropylene, is a little bit softer. So you get some impact resistance, but it would probably rip out on whatever tool they're using to assemble these things, because these are the screws that you just like click a thing and it like automatically loads the next one and you just like go all day. Take that however you will. So all of these screws are the same. They're just a bigger pitch. So if I have one of the ABS ones is the one on top. It's never going to focus because this camera sucks. It's just a webcam, forgive me. I'm about to give up, or giving up. Hopefully you saw something, but all of the orange parts are polypropylene. At first I thought it was to prevent people from painting the blaster, because if you try to paint any sort of poly, it's eventually just going to chip off. It's really, really soft material. But I got a confirmation that that is indeed not the case. It's actually because ABS is getting expensive and polypropylene is cheaper. So right off the bat, we have some rollers. These are just ABS rollers, natural ABS plastic, which is interesting to see. I haven't been in a like modern Nerf blaster in a very long time, so I don't want to trick anyone and say, oh, I'm more qualified than anyone else. This is just all my own opinions. These are all my own thoughts on things. So take everything you will with a grain of salt, I guess, or however you will. I'm just observing, I guess. So the jam door is completely... There's no locks in this thing. There's one lock. There's 2 locks. But for the most part, there's no superfluous locks. They all pretty much do something for one way or another. Mean something. But there are 2 that you can remove, and we'll get into that. So everything comes apart. These are nice color separations. I kind of like the fact that they don't have any printing on here. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but I actually kind of enjoy the fact that I don't have to sand off anything. I'll sand the whole thing, but it's kind of harder to sand off when that printing, whatever they use. So this is separated into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces on each side. So this entire thing right here is actually completely separate from the rest of this blue part. You can see that seam line there. So if you wanted to paint that a separate color, then that's fine. There is actually a way to paint polypropylene. There is a link in the description for a Amazon affiliate link, and it's some sort of adhesion promoter. I will warn you, it's $50 a can. Supposedly that helps you actually be able to paint this stuff and not have it flake off, but I've never used it before myself. Just a little disclaimer, so there's that. I guess this I haven't taken apart yet, so let's go ahead and rip these pieces apart real quick. If I can't, because it looks like there's a bunch of clips on here, if I can't take it apart really quick, then I'm going to give up relatively quickly, but I just want to do you guys justice and see if I can't do this. That one was a little tougher. So it looks like there's 4 clips on the white plastic that will release the jam door. It's a little curved, so nothing is going to be easy to print. That's lovely. Polypropylene, I'm sure this can just like pop off. You guys get the idea. There's a few clips on this, a few on this. That all separates in much the same way after you take those screws out. I don't see any other screws, so let's go ahead and move on. So inside the blaster, we have many, many different components. We have a very, very strong spring on the magazine release. A little bit weird because the pins are actually on the magazine release, so I think that's going to be a little bit difficult to print, but not impossible. I do have some ideas that I'm going to be working on right after this. This is just a backup kind of thing, and because the magazine's so freaking heavy, it kind of needs support on both sides, I'm assuming. You got your magazine release. Again, this is the strongest spring in this entire blaster, aside from the mainspring. This thing is primed. So someone has definitely been in here because I just opened this. I bet it was a return. Not terribly worried. If you encounter something like this, you should probably complain. But I kind of don't care because I'm going to do stuff with it anyway. So plunger assembly, this entire thing is a contained unit, and it actually has a sear, much like the Caliburn. I don't know what modern blasters would have this. There are some speed holes on the side, but these are not proper speed holes. These are in front of the plunger head when it is pulled back, and so it is just meant to gain some speed, and then it's only really compressing this last little bit, and we'll go over that in the barrel too, because this is actually a really beautiful engineered blaster, or at least I think it is how I'm seeing it. These clips are actually really hard to take off. I'm not going to do it right now, but there is a padded plunger head. You would literally just take a screwdriver and pry these things off. I'm pretty much cracking it, which I don't like because all of the spring weight is going into the back of that. So it's going to be hard to replace the spring on this in any case, but I put in 8.5 coils of K25 spring. So that is up to you, whatever you want to do. I was getting, for the half dart conversion kit, I was getting about 170. I think 177 was the high and like 160 was the low, I believe. But that was with 6.5 inches of barrel material that I'm not going to bother explaining because the one I was using was a thin-walled aluminum. It's not important. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here. So let's get back on track. This is one of the locks that you can take out. This one right here, it goes right on this pin with the spring facing down. And in between there, just like that. And that rocks back and forth and engages with this. It's a clicking mechanism, and it doesn't really do anything besides click. That's really the only thing that it does. So you can take that out. It prevents you from, once you start priming it, you can't really unprime it. You have to kind of do the full thing. So not really necessary. The other lock in here is this guy right here, and this is the one to prevent you from doing slam fire. From what I can tell, there's a little bit of a lip right here, And that almost looks like that's the thing where some people are saying they can, some people are saying they can't slam fire. Um, I have a feeling the one that I had that could slam fire and Abaquintic on Discord, his couldn't. Mine had flashing on it right here. So it was kind of jumping that hook, I think. So I feel this is such a small, thin little piece of plastic that's on the face of this. I feel like that's almost engineered to wear away so you can slam fire. I heard a rumor, I don't have any confirmation, but I heard a rumor that they had to take the slam fire out because of sound regulation. I have no, because it was so loud. I have no idea if that's accurate or not. So don't shoot the messenger. But all of these parts are actually really nice because the spring is captured. If you notice, all the times I've pulled out the spring, they're all captured in there, and that's nice for whatever poor soul is assembling this. There's an extra gap here that is curved. No idea what that's for. Could be for a different blaster. I actually have no idea. It is worth noting on all of these polypropylene parts, it looks like they had trouble molding them. There are a lot of signs of things that should not be. This one is molded better than my other one. So I almost wonder if that one was a pre-production or a rush job or something, because it also had the flashing on there too. This one's looking a little bit more put together. So this is pretty much as far as I've gotten. The barrel just comes off. The barrel front thing just comes off. Besides taking this apart, this is as far as I've gotten. So I didn't even really, I kind of popped the back off of this, looked at it really quick, put another spring on and called it a day. There's bumpers all over the place because these things actually slide back and forth. There's a bumper right here, and that interacts with this top thing right here. And so what's going to happen is, I need to prime this so I can do this easily. What's going to happen is you prime this thing back, and it primes this entire thing here by pushing on the front of the plunger head, just like modern blasters. So the first thing it's going to do is shift the whole thing back on this track right here with these. And then it's going to start priming it. Once you get all the way back there, it's going to lock this back automatically. And then you'll start to pull it forward. And what's cool about this is when it comes back into this position, what's going on is this little curved hook piece is interacting with this guy when it's not primed. So when it's down like this, it interacts when it comes back, which pulls this down, unlocking the entire mechanism so you can pull this back. If it doesn't sense this, meaning if it's primed and like this, it's not going to hit that lever, which means when this little piece goes past it, it locks into place and you can no longer prime it. That's kind of cool. That is why that clicker mechanism is not 100% necessary. So let's go ahead and take these arms out. Both of these screws look like they're the same, but they're different screws out here, so just be mindful of that. Two small ones with the built-in flats, big old washer, whatever. Another captured spring, much lighter, obviously. Another bumper pad on here because things are kind of slamming around. It's nice, very nice to see. I'm not sure what that is, but it is some sort of rubber. This screw is slightly shorter. I have a feeling these ones are slightly shorter, but I don't know yet. This is the only screw that's slightly shorter than the rest of the outside screws. There's a clip holding this thing on back here. This is one of those things where you're going to want to be careful of it, because if you start damaging these parts, these are like actual mechanical parts in the blaster, and that would not be a great thing to damage. So we got the plunger or pusher assembly, I guess here. There's a little bit of a rod here, and that interacts with the back of the N1 dart. And we got a spring underneath here. I cut mine up. I think I threw it away already. Oh, no, I didn't. So I don't have the spring. Actually, I do. So this is the spring, and it sits in here. This cap piece is the piece that I cut off of this. So you got the spring going in here. And then there's a little hat piece that sits on that guy. And then in that little cup, this piece sits in here. I'm not sure why these are separate pieces. I have a feeling it just is for money reasons, or ease of making the part. But that's how that works. And so when this is forward like this, it just lightly seals on that face down here. And that prevents you from damaging your plunger assembly. So that's that. Easy to cut out. There's another piece on the inside of here, right at this front, right here. That's like a little spider thing to keep this thing centered. I haven't tried drilling that out yet, but I probably will in the future. That's a little sketchy, to be honest. I would rather not damage it. Now, this is the only way you can take off the barrel, is once you've taken this thing off. This entire thing comes off. This barrel is a very, very nice part. There's a very nice surface finish on the inside of here. And there's a bit of a step there. So this thing engages on that larger ID. That, like that. And then there's a step in there where the dart is being held. So it's kind of like almost like a tapered barrel, but it's more of just a step. And from what I can tell, it's just trying to get that little tiny burst of really strong air, really high speed burst of air, and then it just pops that dart out, and that's the entire thing. The rest of this is a very smooth barrel, and I think it's just for accuracy. I think it's just to guide the dart, and then you actually have vent holes, and they are symmetrical. So someone doing this knew what they were doing. This person has clearly modified a blaster before. There are some things that you have to learn along the way, and this is a very, very high level of doing this. They're not trying to make high-speed blasters. You got to remember that this is a toy. The dart falls through the rest of this barrel. This entire thing is slowing down the dart, but it's a very smooth bore, and it's more for accuracy. So like it's a toy, right? I mean, this isn't for a 30-year-old guy like me. This is for kids, and for kids, this is amazing. This is, in my opinion, this is probably controversial, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of crap for this, but this is, in my opinion, the best blaster they've come out with since the Elite line, like the original Elite line back in 2012-ish, 2014, 13, I think. This is all one big piece. This is an expensive part because this is thick and actually structural. So this is probably an expensive part, natural ABS. And this part I have not been into, and I'm very curious to see how it works. It's some sort of like ratcheting mechanism by the looks of it. Those are fully length screws. So the rest of the shell. So the only one that's different are these two, which are the small flat ones, and this one, which is the short one, and then the orange ones, which are the larger thread size. So this entire thing I know has a spring. I'm trying to be very careful. Okay, I see a compliant spring. I see this plate here. This is pushing up on me, so I'm going to keep it down. But that pops out. This is a plate that goes in there like that. All ABS. I'm not sure why this is polypropylene. Yeah, all of the orange parts are polypropylene. I wonder why they made this polypropylene. Yeah, they're all polypropylene. That's kind of weird. Anyway, these look like separate pieces. I think they're just molded separately because it's easier. And then probably, yeah, they're solvent molded together. Oh, no, never mind. They're screwed together. It almost looks like they're solvent molded together. Whoops, easy there, Tiger. Oh, it's in there. There we go. Nope, yeah, it releases. Ooh, almost lost that. Okay, so it is keyed. It's got a little flat on there. The light! Don't look at the light! It's alright. There we go. See, it's fine. This is a short screw. So there is one more short screw. It's the same size screw that's right here. Alright, now let's look at this. So this entire thing, so there's a tension spring here, pulling it back this way. There's a cam in here this little ramp right here in blue acts as a cam, pushes that up. You see that little compliance spring? Interesting. So this kind of moves the thing forward. It's weird. They actually have, oh, it's metal. So they have a metal pin pressed in here that's not removable. But I'm assuming, oh, it rotates. So it's actually rolling. That's interesting. That's probably nylon. That is nylon. At the very least, that's not ABS. Just that little peg. Wear resistance. I wonder if these pieces are nylon. That explains why they're so bright white. And then this is ABS. No, is that? No, that's some sort of poly. This is poly. This is not. This has to be nylon. Which means the bright white parts are nylon. That's nylon. The thing actually interacting, like holding the magazine in place, is nylon. I guess this looks like nylon. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. These are all mainly guesses. This is the spring for this guy. So the small loop end goes on that little hook right here. And then the big end goes on this thing right here. And that's pretty much it. You got your basic stuff like your 2 attachment points. The jam unjam button, so if you prime it back and for some reason you need to pull it back again, that just releases it. Let's get into the magazine and then we'll wrap it up because we're already 20 minutes in. 22. Whoopsie. All right, so we got the magazine here. It looks like there's some screws. These are the same size as the rest of them. The majority of them. Same size. Same size. All right. 4 screws, all the same size. That easily comes off. That's good. I was worried that wasn't. That is a really big part. Is that just me? It's more than just big. It's like structurally stable, which is kind of weird. So we have 40 linkages. Is there any sort of mechanism that's keeping this in place? No, it is dumb. It is completely stupid. Oh, there's the ratcheting mechanism. Okay, I see it. So this, wow, that's beautiful. That's so cool. That is so cool. You could do so much with this. With these pieces alone, you could do anything. You could just print shells and make this into different shapes. This thing is so cool. I wish you could print these, but there's no way. These are all clipped together. I'm going to try to unclip it without breaking it. I could unclip it. It's right there if I really wanted to unclip it, but I'm not going to push it that far because I actually want this magazine. But that's pretty simple. This is nice and simple. You got some you got some dart storage back here just because there's the room and why not. Very, very stiff pieces. The entire structural part of this is from just these 2 pieces, which I mean, duh, I guess. But I mean, that's a really stiff part. That's pretty cool. So this is just the dumb one. This is on the bottom. It's just a sprocket, nothing special. This one looks like it had some sort of engaging mechanism here. And that is for this guy right here. Look at that. So when this is in place, I'm assuming there's a spring in there. And you can rotate this. You see it jumping? You can rotate it. By the way, this is where the it's really smart. The magazine release is the thing that actually depresses and engages this guy over here. So this is just a shape back here. And then this engages into this guy, that ratcheting mechanism. And you just press this in. And it engages on here. Isn't that so cool? So they don't need an extra part for that. It's literally the magazine release. So cool. So this has a screw in here. This is not nylon. This has to be ABS. There's no way they made this. I retract what I said before. I still think that little tiny nub that's actually doing the rotating is nylon. But I can't imagine they would make all these nylon. I think it's just white ABS for whatever reason. Partially exposed. Maybe. I don't know. So that comes off. That is another short screw. That's 3 short screws. This is a very complicated thing for what this is. It's literally a pen click spring, I guess. I mean, it's not, but that is pretty cool. There's many engagement. It's a little over-engineered, but it's fine. I'd rather be over-engineered than under-engineered. And you know, it's you're making these molds anyway. It doesn't really hurt that anything. So there is a receiver end. There's some spikes here and more receivers on this end, and that just kind of lets the whole thing click and ratchet past it, even though it doesn't want to. So I think that's pretty much it. Again, kind of a disclaimer is this is all just my personal observations of this blaster. I really like this blaster. I think it's pretty cool. I haven't been into Nerf in a while, but this one kind of gets me excited. I just like the fact that they tried something different and it like actually has like a purpose, I guess, which is really hard to do. How long have modders been doing stuff? And I mean, like, we're just all performance based. We don't have anything cool like this. And when you have parts that you can't really 3D print like this, it just kind of makes the whole thing really worthwhile. That makes me want to go further. So thank you guys a lot for watching this breakdown. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and this is when I tell you to like and leave the notification bell. Check out adeline.com. That really helps me out when you guys even check it out. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. I don't have any sort of uploading schedule. That's why I tell you to the bell, because whatever. I don't know how much Nerf stuff I'm going to do, but it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.